Welcome back to the Forum by Voltage. As always, joined here by Robert Lee. How you doing today, brother?
Good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having
Yeah,
me,
I'm doing
man.
fantastic until you called me out earlier pre-recording.
No one called you
Yeah,
out.
no, you're trying to catch me in a lie, and I
you
appreciate
just
that.
explained a story
No, I
with a
really
few
don't
two
appreciate
mini
that.
potholes, and
Yeah.
I started digging.
Yeah.
And I came back to the surface. I came back to the surface with some questions.
I started digging too. You know what? I dug so deep that I found that I'm like, I'm in this hole. I should get out of this hole. But you know what I couldn't do? Get out of that hole. Because you know what I don't have? Pull-out game. Thank you guys so much for joining us. What we want to know today is, can you go from what we were just doing, from gossiping to the gospel?
And I absolutely will say you can. And let me start you off with a resounding memory for you and first time story for the
I
audience.
don't like it.
You know, I know a lot of people think that, you know, when it comes to Christianity, the gospel, going to church, and just being saved, there's just one facet, there's one way. It looks a certain way. And what a lot of people don't talk about, like, they talk about, like, the transformation, the baptism. Here I am, I'm new, I'm reinvented, if you will. I'm a new
Reborn.
creation in Christ, reborn. But they don't talk about how after that big baptismal service, all the claps and all, they don't talk about how some struggles and some things still take place.
Yeah.
Some characteristic traits, if you will, still take place. So for me, let me tell you a story
Oh, I know. I like this story.
about a boy
And-
who I would say was way in over his head.
Which head? Yeah.
Good
that's-
question.
That's the
Good.
question.
That's the question.
question.
Which is going to lead me to my
Sin.
experience of just kind of like sin and just kind of that struggle. I know we talked about it in another pod about that youthful lust we talked about one time when we were kind of getting into ministry. And even in being in ministry, some of that youthful lust, going from gossiping to the pulpit, not saying like, is it good to do it?
Yeah.
But it happens. And what I did is I, as you know, and you were a part of it, had a men's Bible study, had a Bible study group.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
That Bible study.
Yeah, I know it was part of what was happening
like an
around
orgy
the men's,
or something?
yeah, like around the men's Bible study. I'm like,
No,
no.
it
I
never
was
went-
prompt and on time to the men's Bible study.
It never went origamic, if you.
I was dry from the waist down at the Bible study. All right.
Well, at the Bible study you were, but before
All right.
and after,
Okay.
I can't speak on
Can't
that.
speak to that. Okay.
But
4 a.m.
for, you know, a lot of us, we, you know, do struggle and we do have some of those, you know, trying tests or whatever that happen in life.
Yeah.
And for me, I had a Bible study that I was, you know, leading and teaching. And this is kind of, I want to say, maybe towards the beginning of my pastorship, you know, career. So the Bible study was held in my house. And as you know, I had everyone meet there at morning time. It was like Saturday mornings. That's when everyone could
think
be
9
there
a.m.
and make it on
9
time.
a.m.
It was like 9 a.m., like an
9 a.m. So
early
it's
Saturday
an
morning.
agreeable time.
Yeah, it was agreeable time.
Yeah.
Early Saturday morning, and everyone can
No one
get
was
their
pressed.
afternoon. Yeah, no one
Yeah.
was pressed. So Friday night, before the Saturday Bible study, I decided to leave my house.
Yeah.
And I left my house and I went to go hang out with a girl that I was seeing at the time, if you will. And we hang out and one thing leads to another. And yeah, you kind of,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Multiple times.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, so I mean, I should have went home, ended up sleeping over.
Yeah.
Wake up the next morning, you get breakfast. Okay, so you
That
got
was- That
breakfast.
wasn't the only thing you got.
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of that not being the only thing you ate, see, because I can eat fast.
Yeah.
You know, I can eat pancakes and waffles and bacon. I can eat
Well,
that stuff
what we
fast.
discovered is that you don't eat.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
don't.
no,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
continue. Yeah.
I'm
So,
not
yeah,
in
like-
that club.
No,
Sue me.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you
in
ate
that club.
breakfast, but you didn't eat.
Yeah. Actual food.
Yeah, you ate breakfast.
You know, not that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
people in 2023 are eating. But, you know, one thing led to another. And yes, you know, I ended up running late because when I realized, like, okay, the Bible study starts at this time. I need to get there at this time. I should be leaving now. Didn't leave now. Got lured back in. More sin, more whatever, gossip or anything. Just getting lured back into that. Ended up showing late. I'm driving there. I'm texting you guys. Hey, can someone get there? Let the guys know I'm running late.
I think me and Nick were standing outside.
Standing
Me and Nick were
outside.
standing outside.
Yeah, so, you know, we get there. I finally get there. Sure enough, you guys are there. I get there. We open up. We get in the house, and we have the Bible study.
Yeah, clean.
No one questions
yeah.
anything. No one does anything. Sure, I'm not saying that do that. You know what I mean? Not saying that it was right, but just to give a real life example of like that kind of stuff happens. You know what I mean? I remember before I delivered my first sermon ever, you know what I mean? I'm telling on myself today.
No, but
You know what I
before you
mean?
get to
Go
that,
ahead.
keep that story in mind. Keep that
Please.
story in mind. But what I want to say is that because people might be wondering, well, why is Robert bragging about his Xbox achievements over and
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
over again? Well, how is that related to like, okay, but I go from basically from gossiping to preaching the gospel. I go from the pulpit to
The party,
the
yeah.
party, right? And it's like, well, I think of it this way: is that, like I said, it's very possible to do it. It's always possible to fool some of the people some of the time.
Correct.
But at some time, at some point, who you really are, what's really going on is going to come out, and that's what happened, right?
Yes.
You could have been participating over and over and over for weeks on end, months, years even, but at some point it was going to happen to where it's like what we're doing is going to interfere with what we should be doing.
Correct.
And just like how you did, you showed up late. No, we didn't press you about it. We weren't upset. We weren't anything because we're just like, well, he's a dutiful guy. Like, it's like
Dude,
the
because
first
you guys
it's the first and only time.
you guys were trying to live vicariously through my
100%,
story. So
100%.
you guys wanted to know that
I'm
story.
trying to keep it nice, and you gotta go say how we're the problem as well. But what I'm saying is that like you could only reside outside of who you are for so long before everyone finds out what you're doing. Who you really are. Like, I wish I had a better way to say that, but it like what happened with you. It's like at some point, you're gonna get caught.
Correct. And the reason is like I was saying, like, and we're not, making it clear to the audience, we're not, like you said, condoning the behavior, but the reason why we're able to kind of it's possible. And the reason why we're so open to share it is because it did happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can use that as an example to say, yeah, in today's time, you wouldn't catch me doing anything like that. But I was doing that at a time, and there's plenty of other people who are doing it. Heck, there's pastors who are still doing it. I heard a story from Tim Ross, the basement clips, and I know he was talking about himself.
Yeah.
But he put it like in the third person.
Yeah, he was
where
like,
he
I
went to go.
knew
Yeah.
a steward
Yes,
who
he's like, I know.
was-
Let me tell you a story about a young pastor.
Yeah.
He goes to this event. He got invited to go preach. He goes to an event.
named Rintos.
Yeah, like, the deacon, the pastor's assistant, and then there's usually like a deaconess, like a lady there.
Okay, yeah.
They went to go pick him up from the airport, take him to his hotel.
Yeah.
The lady takes him to the hotel. Hey, this is where you're going to be staying. Tomorrow, the deacon is going to pick you up at this time for the
That's
service.
already a move.
Yes.
Though. That's already kind of a move. Yeah.
She tells him, this is
Yeah.
what he says. She tells him, if there's anything you need, let me know. He goes, okay. And then she reiterates,
Yeah.
no, if there's anything you need, let me know. So he's like, all right, so tomorrow, 6 o'clock,
There's
we're going to,
something I want.
Yeah.
But
She reiterates again. He says she opens her shirt, titty out. If there's anything you need, let me know. Fast forward, he goes to the service. He tells the pastor, I just wanted to let you know, like, your lady that kind of came, the deaconess or whatever.
Oh, so he didn't take advantage of this?
No, he
situation.
didn't.
Okay.
He goes to the pastor at the service the next day, and he's like, I just want to let you know this was happening. I don't know if that's how you want, like, your church or your ministry to be like,
greeted when
yeah,
you bring somebody in?
like,
Yeah, I
this is
mean,
what happened. Her whole titty was out.
Unfortunately, some ministerial people will not.
They won't fall into that. Yeah, they won't push into
they're just
that.
gonna be like, you know what? This is just a part. This is a part of the. They paid my hotel.
Exactly.
They picked me up.
This is just the perk.
This is just one of the accoutrements that comes with it.
And what he said was, when he told the pastor that, you're not going to believe what the pastor told him.
What?
The pastor told him, well, I guess you failed the test. He said, you're not ever going to be able to be at the levels and the platform and the stages in this community unless we have some dirt on you. So that even there, right there,
That
tells
doesn't even
me
make sense.
that, but that tells me that all the people that are operating in these ministries, all the people that are operating in these high positions, question is, can we go from gossip to the word? Can we go from the pulpit to the party? Yeah, we can go from it, but the problem isn't even, are we going from one or the other? They're doing it in the pulpit.
They're saying that when you're not doing that, you're actually the oddity.
You're
the odd one out, because now we can't believe that you want to be a part of this organization. You want to be a part of the business structure of this, because we can't fit you into all of the maybe dirty dealings that we're doing,
because you don't want to do it, and you're going to out us.
Yeah.
And we can't get outed. Once we get outed, we lose members, we lose everything, we lose our money, we lose our status, we
because
lose
none
everything.
of it is about the gospel. None of it is about power preaching. No, it's all
And
about influence.
Yes, and he shows up. I just want to preach as a guest speaker at this church.
Yeah.
And I want to deliver the word and I want to touch souls. He showed up with just that agenda. And they're like, yeah, no, you can do that. And we probably could even put you on even bigger stages and bigger platforms. But we need dirt on you. Why do we need dirt on you? Because the more and more you hang out with us, you're going to realize just how much dirt is on our hands.
Yeah, that just.
So it's happening.
Yeah, no, so it's happening. So it's like, but man, I don't even have like a real response to that because that's crazy. I mean, because I'm over here thinking, I'm like, okay, well, let's come from the level of the everyday person who's just like, oh, well, I feel guilty, or maybe I'm like, no, well, I'm just dabbling a little bit, right? And it's like we're not telling them that they can't do it because that's what a lot of preachers are going to tell them. A lot of ministerial people, a lot of religious people are going to tell you, hey, you shouldn't do that. You can't do A, B, C, and D. And the place I was wanting to come from is that, yeah, but they're doing it. And it's like, and yeah, you're going to go from doing that to praising and worshiping. You're going from doing that to leading prayer. You're going to go from doing that to ushering in at the altar. You're going to go doing that from volunteering your time. And what I thought we could do was come in and say, like, yeah, you're going to do that. We've done that. We've also been those same exact people who are telling you how to live on Sunday, but living very differently on Saturday.
Correct.
But like, that is definitely it's definitely a different category because it's a different level. Because right now we're speaking obviously like on the attendee level.
Correct.
And then that level is the directorial, the pastorship, the shepherdship, whatever you want to call it. And that level is, I believe, the most corrupted and most dangerous level.
That's where everyone's getting their information from.
And they're the ones getting the information of the same people who are telling them, hey, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You need to live holy. But then they're also operating as like, well, we can we can send you as far and as high as you want to go. But you got to play ball. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, but then now everything I say is hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Everything that I preach is not gospel. It's rehearsed. And now every time I go up and every time that I claim that I'm coming from the Lord, I'm coming from you guys because I'm being allowed to come.
Yeah.
I'm being allowed to go. I'm being allowed to speak because now, like I said, if I have dirt or whatever on me, like they have, I participated or I passed the test by making a pass at this young lady.
Or just going full throttle.
Just whatever, right? Whatever she was, I guess, available to do.
With a titty out.
I don't know how they convinced.
She was.
I just want to know what this woman's life is like. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Maybe they went to second and fifth and they're just like, hey, we need somebody to just wear like a little blazer real quick, but to come in blazing. Like,
but the thing that shocks me is that this couldn't have been her first rodeo.
No, 100%.
She was too comfortable.
Yeah.
She was too I'm not calling her out of her because I don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
He didn't like show any images of that, of course, or anything, but like not even like a prostitute that like you can pay for is that open, like
that forward.
Anything, that forward. Yeah. This is not her first rodeo,
that's not how that transaction
makes
goes.
me wonder, like, how many pastors has she taken?
Has she taken the dirt?
Yeah,
has she been the grave digger of?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that, and that just that frustrates me, and that's where we fail. Like that's why we have, I feel like we have 50-50 right now. We have a huge rise, which I keep seeing more and more proof of. We have a huge rise of people who are actually being drawn by nothing else but by the faith. Like by nothing else except God calling them, by God speaking in their lives, by God just like rescuing them out of, garbage, out of all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we have the other hand where we have these people that are similar to whoever Tim Ross was speaking about, who are in these positions of power and influence, and the people who don't have any of that are having a genuine encounter with Christ, and all these people are doing is just caring about how do I get a private jet, right? Like that's all they're it's just a means to an end. It's a business. It's not about the gospel. It's not even about Jesus Christ. If they even believe it, at that point, I don't think you believe in Jesus Christ. Like because at that level, when you operate at that level, because like I said, we're gonna go from the pulpit to the party. We're gonna go from gospel to the to the gossip or whatever. We're gonna go and we're gonna be hanging out with the saints, and then we're gonna be with the homies. Like it's that is a way different level. And of course, sin is sin is sin is sin. But there's a difference between sin and a reprobate mind. There's a difference between well, I am acting out because I'm not delivered of certain things, or I'm acting in a way because I'm just not, I haven't given that part of myself to God. I'm like, like I know I hold on to this pornography. Like I have this pornography addiction. I have this alcohol addiction. I'm holding on to it. I'm not. I'm not sinning because I think that it's good for me to have that. I'm sinning because I have not yet been delivered and I haven't let it go, or I haven't even confessed it to somebody. Like I haven't like made it known. I have it secret, and it's very hard to
Correct.
be delivered from something you keep secret.
Correct.
And but these people are just like that's a different level. It's like it goes from sin to where it's like, no, you're just insulting the gospel.
Yeah.
And you're it's like somebody who owns like a nonprofit. Like if you own a nonprofit, but for some reason you just get richer and the people you're helping are getting poorer, like then you probably don't believe in that nonprofit. You probably just started it just to make money, right?
Correct.
So that's what they're doing. It's
Yeah.
just selfishness. It's not they believe in the cause, or that they even or have faith in the cause, or they maybe even to the point where they're like, I don't even if Jesus is real, who knows? Like I just read the word and I just regurgitate the word.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
very possible. You and I
Yeah.
could do that all day.
Yeah.
You and I, if you gave us any book, we could sit down and I'm like, I could probably create a religion about about
create a
this
religion,
book.
create a little sermon, and get people to.
I could get you real excited about
Yeah.
James Joyce. Like,
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
get you real excited about what was the one that was super popular like a few years ago? Not
Which one is that?
The Hunger Games.
Oh, Hunger Games.
I was like, I could get you a super popping off organ playing on
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's emotion. That's it's emotion. It's manipulation. It's just public speaking.
Yeah.
That's what public speaking is to change the mentality and
Correct.
even the emotional state
Correct.
of people.
Yeah.
So that's all these are just public speakers
Yeah.
using the brand of the gospel. And they're thinking that, well, anyone else who's in this position who's pursuing the foolishness of preaching, they must just be pursuing a roundabout way of getting fame.
Getting money, getting clout, and things of that nature. And the thing, like, to really focus in on, because, like, a lot of that message comes from the pulpit of how to be, how not to be, what to do, and things of that nature, like that judgmental preaching. But what I keen in on, something that the Bible says is that none of us are without sin. So, like, even at the very moment that minister, that pastor, bishop, what have you, whatever title they, possess, even at that time, when they're expressing and telling and teaching us not to sin, they are with sin at the time of saying that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I realized probably just last week, I was kind of just doing some studying and I'm like, there will never, ever, ever be a time in my life where I am without sin.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll always be a sinner by nature, because we'll never get to a point of perfection, But I like how you said, can we go from both of them? Yeah, we can definitely go from one or the other, but the back and forth, it does provide some sort of corruption. Because if I am constantly gossiping, but then I want to go into the church, well, why do you think that there's a lot of people that to this day have church hurt? Because there's people in the church that have these cliques and these gossipings, and you feel like people are getting pushed out, or that person's not getting the same treatment. It's just not equitable, in the church. All that exterior stuff that we're doing that, we can easily go back and forth because we have that free will and ability to do so. But it is corrupting the church more and more and corrupting the things that happen inside of the church because of the ability that we are so flexible and able to go from one to the other.
Yeah. And it's not, and you're never going to be without sin, but you can be without being a practicer
Correct.
of sin.
Correct.
You could be without, I don't know the names of it. But I remember a long, long time ago, there was two types of sin that this pastor was preaching about. And I don't know the proper words, but I'm just going to say subconscious and conscious, right?
Gotcha.
So subconscious sin is kind of like what we kind of spoke about last week, like kind of just like that, right? That look, right? Like that
double take, that
double taking, right? And it's like another,
it's like premeditated.
Yeah. Like that's other subconscious sin might be like, I woke up and I was just like, and I was late for work. So I was like, I'm late for work, right?
Yeah.
Like just instant, right out the door. Another one might be that you are often short-tempered with people. There's a sin right there. Another one could be that it's like you lied, but like you just lied because you just didn't want to have a conversation. Like you just, all these different things. And then there's the conscious sin, right? I masturbated, I cheated, I intended to lie, I stole, I murdered, I
because all those things
mic.
take time. All those things take a lot of premeditation and planning out. You can't just, oh, I happen to cheat. No, you plan to cheat. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
I happen
There
to
was
murder.
a lot of
like,
steps that you could have taken a different road, and then you ended up there.
and he always provides a way out.
always provides a way out.
So it's like you had to ignore every sign to get through all the steps to get
every
to your
off-ramp.
finished product
Yeah.
of sin. Yeah, every off ramp you passed it and said, "I'm staying
You're
on."
like, I'm staying in the fast lane. I'm
Yes.
just going to keep going, and
Yes.
I'm going to find out where it takes me. I know
Even
where
if
it's
I
going.
was told to turn right for 4 blocks, I'm gonna keep
I'm
going.
gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. No, yeah, don't even,
Yeah.
don't even
Get me
It
started.
took me a minute to click it back to like what I said, and I was just like, oh, yeah. Don't even get me started. I'm just happy to be here. All right? I'm very happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to have you. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. No,
There we
just-
go.
but again, I think this happens often. Like you kind of take it away from where I'm thinking it's gonna be, and maybe it's not. Of course, maybe it's the Lord. Hopefully, ideally, it's the Lord. But yeah, like I'm over here thinking like, oh yeah, we have something for the people, for like the general. Like I said, like maybe the new convert, maybe the person who hasn't converted. It's just like, oh, but they want me to be holier than thou. It's like, no, we just want you to try. We just want you to love God.
Correct.
Just love him, love
Correct.
his peace, love his power, love to worship, and we're made to worship. Like, but then I'm over here, I'm ignoring the whole side of where this systemic problem is even coming from. Is that the word itself says to be mindful, be awake, be aware, because there are many people coming in my name that are not from me.
Yeah.
The people that Tim Ross said that whoever this unknown gentleman is who got a titty whipped out on him, that he went to people who speak the name of Jesus who are not from him.
Yeah.
They're not from him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I feel
Because my people don't do these kinds of things.
No, my people don't do these things.
You wouldn't tempt me.
My
that
people
way.
daily
You
fall
wouldn't-
short. They fall short daily of the gospel, but they're getting back up again.
Yes.
They're not getting out there, and they're just speaking to speak sakes. You know? And then more than likely the people who are really from God and are really from Jesus, it's like they're the ones stepping themselves down. Maybe because I think that is like Tim Ross' testimony, like right, he stepped himself down, kind of stepped himself down. So it's like the people who I would trust that are like that. Oh, I'm like, what, that guy is actually trying to seek after what the Lord has.
Correct.
Is that not the ones who are fighting so hard to keep what they have, but the ones that are trying so hard to give it all away.
Correct.
So that's who I would trust.
Because there's been too much focus on like the church and the brick or mortar state of the church, but the church has become so corrupted because we as the body of Christ are the church and we're the ones filling that building. So if we're corrupted ourselves as individuals, you fill a building full of corrupted individuals, it's going to be a corruptive atmosphere. It's just destruction all over the place. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like even for newcomers, like people coming in, just like you said, I do believe that too. Like it's just that understanding to know that, because sometimes we can look at even new believers who come in, people who are just freshly baptized, coming into the faith. You have like this pressure that you think that you need to get to some level or some height of anointing that you think all these other people have.
They don't have it.
They don't have it,
I
man.
don't have it.
They don't have it. They're the same as you. They had an understanding and they made an acceptance, and they made that acceptance global, and they did it out front in front of everybody. And they're trying their best to live their life according to what they know is true. That's the whole purpose of this.
The only difference between a saint and a sinner is one choice, and that's to serve Christ.
I've got nothing else.
That's-
You
that's
just
the-
mic dropped.
that's the
If
only
this
choice.
mic wasn't connected to the stand, I'd
You
drop.
know?
If Kevin wouldn't
If
me
I
for
wasn't
dropping this
connected to
mic,
the
I
member
would drop
between
the
my
mic.
legs, I'd drop that mic right now because it's caused me too many problems. Take us out, Rob.
Well, man, look, this has been awesome as always. We thank you guys for tuning into this. Honestly, one thing I can just say, just wrapping it all up, there's peer pressure everywhere. Really just don't feel the pressure to kind of be perfect. Don't try to feel the pressure of trying to have it all figured out. This is a journey. We were supposed to have it figured out right after baptism, if we were supposed to have it figured out right at the acceptance, then Jesus would come right at that moment. But there's a journey that he wants us to take after the acceptance, because after you accept, it's getting to know him. It's just like when you get married. At the altar, you say, I do. That's the acceptance. Just because we said I do doesn't mean it's going to be happily ever after. That just means I accept to walk that journey to see whatever else that's going to take. So take the first step on your walk of your journey. Myron, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for
We'll
being
see you
here.
guys in the next one.
See you guys.